Welcome back to World War Live, everybody. I'm your host, Conrad Franz, here on Tuesday, April 28th. Once again, here Tuesday evening, like I said, discussing everything going on in the world. Of course, the negotiations between the U.S. and Iran seem to have completely ended entirely. Pakistan is no longer even having its road barricades up or anything like that. So that stage of the ceasefire negotiations continues to go on. But many other things are going on. Of course, the Lebanon ceasefire is also long since collapsed. We have some updates on the Georgian patriarchal elections, and as well as some pretty great content on Twitter to react to. This will be a pretty good reaction stream. I'm seeing a lot of people in chat. Ewar mapping, Nahom, Silversight, Mistafist07. Christ is risen, everybody. Hope everyone is still enjoying the resurrection, celebrating the Paschal season as we get closer and closer to Ascension and Pentecost as the summer things start heating up here in the Northern Hemisphere. So again, thank you all so much for tuning in. If you want to ask any kind of question, if there's anything going on in the news, Twitter drama, e-drama of any sort that you want me to discuss, feel free to send in a super chat and I will discuss that at your leisure. If you're in the Substack chat and you're a paid subscriber, I will at least humor a few of your non-paid questions. Of course, there is no super chat feature on Substack, but I can tell who is a paid subscriber and who is a free subscriber. So if you are a paid subscriber and you want to ask some questions, feel free to lock in and send me something there, and I will answer whatever questions you have. So again, be sure to do that. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We've already got some super chats coming in. Be sure to like the stream. That's right. Whether you're watching on super chat, whether you're watching on Substack, X, or YouTube, be sure to like, hit the thumbs up, and of course, leave a comment to let us all know what you're thinking. Going to be reading all of the comments, of course. But before I start even reading the super chats and diving into some of the other analysis, I want to make sure everybody is already subscribed to worldwarnow.co. Hold up. Can't be showing everyone the Substack DMs. All right. No worries. Here we are. But everybody, be sure to visit worldwarnow.co. Get behind the paywall. Of course, World War Now Substack is where the World War Now episodes themselves are dropped first. Yes, they're posted in full to Twitter and to YouTube, but they are posted a full day before that in full on the Substack. So no excuse to not be on there, even if you're not a paid subscriber. So get on there. Of course, we have our Ether Hour episodes, including our recent Ether Hour Part 2, serving Yaqub Saraf, former defense minister of Lebanon. Of course, the first 50 minutes of this one is free, but the rest of it, another 55 minutes or so, some really incredible stuff from the former defense minister of Lebanon is behind our paywall. So get behind their $7 a month or $75 a year. There might be some deals coming up soon, as well as some other shakeups with some of the Ether Hour stuff. So feel free to stay tuned for that. And again, best way to support the show is by getting behind the paywall here. And this is one of the best episodes to first tune into once you get full paywall access. So be sure to do all of that if you can. Again, so many incredible episodes, not just the newest ones, but 116 plus Ether Hour episodes, most of them well over an hour and a half. So be sure to check all of that out. Huge interviews with, again, Yaqub Saraf, former defense minister of Lebanon, Larry Johnson, Jim Jatras, Gregory Here's some really great content with him, Anthony Westgate, Cleave to Antiquity, we had a show with him, Matthew Raphael Johnson. We have a whole series on Rasputin, 2 more parts to come on that very soon. I did an interview with Metropolitan Mitrofan of Gorlovka. You get access to all of my content from when I was in the Donbass, which will be made into a full documentary at some point. So again, worldwarnow.co, one of the best ways to support us. That's the home base where everything happens. And of course, if you're already behind the Substack paywall, be sure to go to the Buy Me a Coffee. If you want to continue to support us even further, be sure to visit the Buy Me a Coffee at buymeacoffee.com/worldwarnow. One of the best ways to support. Or if you don't want to get behind the paywall for some reason, I don't know why, but some people are out there, but want to give a one-time donation, this is the best way to do that. So thank you again all so much for tuning in. Again, Christ is risen. I hope everyone's having a good evening. We have $5 here from Mistafist07. Hit the like, ya mogs. That's right, everyone. Hit the like button. You heard it here first from Yaqub, right there, the inventor of the white race himself. $9.99 from H. Brasi. I wish more of the chat was active on Twitter. This is like the 3rd or 4th time we tag team bodied somebody on the timeline. It's true. Once again, people are so feminist that they don't even realize it. And then they get offended when people put forward the teaching of the church. Maybe we'll discuss some of that in a second. $10 from Silversight. Rachel Wilson has gone off the deep end. What was she thinking? Breaking that one question rule on the mic like she is entitled. She verbally accosted Owen. It was awful. Owen did good. Alex reviewed it. And look, I didn't watch the entire interview. I didn't have a good time. Not a good time. I didn't have time to watch the whole thing. I saw several clips and the questions and everything. Yeah, it was not great. And I don't think that. Look, you can make the argument that Trump is better than the Democrats. Like that's not really even an argument. It's not really up for debate. The midterms are coming up. Trump would still be the president. Like the idea that we should still be shilling for Trump is really the thing in question here. And everyone's saying, "Oh, well, we get so look at the illegal immigrants." Like none of that stuff is really happening. Like the idea that Trump has changed the game on immigration so much that it was all worth it. That's just not true. Like, and if he gets what he wants with legal immigration, it's all going to be basically back to square one on all this kind of stuff. So the idea that we need to be loyal to Trump is ridiculous. He's not even going to be up for re-election again. He's a lame duck. We need to be putting political pressure. The only way to do political pressure is to withhold votes on the administration so that his cabinet full of wannabe successors, Rubio, Vance, a bunch of other clowns, they are going to have to, at least if they're going to get this nomination and they're going to try to lead the United States, they're going to, at the very least, going to have to give some concessions to America First, to identitarians, to the people that got Trump elected in the first place, and to the growing young vote of people who will be who want nothing to do with Israel, first of all, and will simply not sit by while wars are perpetrated, while they give votes to people for no war, and then war occurs. That's not something that can be sustained. And defending I've seen all the arguments, and I know that it was a rhetorical section of the debate. It wasn't his main argument, but so many people are using this argument that Muhammad was a pedophile and Muslims allow for child marriage and Iran is a pedophile state. Like this is ridiculous. I mean, there was, up until very recently in the United States, even in certain states still, with parental consent, 12-year-olds can get married. So the idea that somehow this is something that we need as a country to move forward as a state and punish them for it. Well, by that logic, we should be bombing like every African country. Like I said, we should be bombing Israel. The Talmud literally says you can rape 3-year-old babies that are Gentiles if you're Jewish. And of course, a situation in Israel as a haven for pedophiles. If you're a Jew and you're convicted of one of these sex crimes in another country, Israel, it's a safe haven for you. They're not going to extradite you. Israel doesn't extradite Jews anywhere else. That's part of one of the main reasons why Israel exists, as a safe haven for Jews to commit crime internationally and retreat into their little shtetl they've created for themselves in the Levant. I mean, Jonathan Pollard, one of the worst spies in American history, he's there right now meeting with our ambassador in Israel, despite being one of the worst traitors, treasonous people, spies that's ever been captured by the United States. Again, all these other pedophiles and people that are there. This isn't debatable. This is old news, and feels like now everything that everyone was posting on Twitter and getting banned for back in 2017, it's just mainstream talking points now. So there are definitely certain people that are going to be rehabilitated. So be prepared for some controversial names potentially to appear on Ether Hour and World War Now soon, and it might even cause some of the most based people in our audience to be offended. So you can't say we're not moving the Overton window here at World War Now, but I want to say what's up to everyone in the Substack chat. Hit that heart. It's great to see the heart thing moving on there. So do that if you can. We have $10 from eWar Mapping. Thoughts on Rachel today spurging out on most of the orthobrosphere. She called into Jay a bit ago and misrepresented the critique that most people have of Andrew's arguments. I didn't see the Jay thing, and I responded to Rachel a decent amount of times. I didn't try to be too disrespectful. At the end of the day, I don't really care what Rachel says. She's going to defend her husband. She's a woman, so her political opinion doesn't matter to me. But Andrew, as a man, he is an Orthodox Christian and should probably not hold to opinions that not a single Orthodox bishop would support. And I'm not saying that every Orthodox bishop is based, or that even his Orthodox bishop is someone who should be following on politics, but the whole Zionism thing, the support for war, the support for Donald Trump above all, this is like baby's first politics, like don't make idols, like basic kind of stuff. And the insistence that we still support this guy for this political realism, and he's so much not as bad as the Democrats, and Muslims are pedophiles or something, like this is like retard tier. Like this is worse than the average blood sports debate level of argumentation here. So that's not really something that I'm interested in defending. And look, I've never really been on the crucible. They had at one point wanted us to do some kind of Russia-Ukraine debate. It wasn't really Dimitri and I's speed. Andrew's never really seemed super excited about our content. So, no harm, no foul. I'm not trying to cancel him or anything. I just think that, um, he claims to be this guy that always wins every debate and everything. And this is just retarded stuff. Like, this is just low IQ kind of, again, it's for the kind of people that have already made their decision to support Donald Trump, and it's just kind of the argument you make when you're gonna rally a bunch of cheers and support, not actually trying to convince anyone or be honest, let alone affect political change. And look, I don't have the biggest platform ever. I'm not saying every stream I do makes a difference, but Andrew, they got almost 400,000 YouTube subscribers, huge amount of followers on X and these other platforms. Same with Rachel. They have both been on the Joe Rogan podcast at this point. How many Orthodox Christians have been on there? Those are two of them. There may only have been one or two others coincidentally. I don't know if John Kiriaku's been on there, but maybe there's been 3 Orthodox Christians. 2 of them are from the Wilson family. And here we have them coal posting and saying this kind of stuff. So from that kind of perspective, definitely need to be a better witness, because Zionism and supporting Trump through all of this, especially in the midst of the fake ballroom assassination attempt, which I might get into more in a second here, but $4.99 again from Brittany Love ATX. There's a lot of people in despair, fearful. How do you say hopeful? Well, I mean, like, obviously there's reasons to be despairing in society because our society kind of sucks. But if you're Orthodox Christian, there's no reason to despair because Christ is risen, right? I mean, Jesus Christ has already trampled down death by death. So at a certain level, if you're very much aware of death and you're aware of your own mortality, and that at any moment, a garbage truck could come flying through my window right now and just kill me. And generally speaking, if you're in a state where you've confessed your sins and you've been attending the liturgy and receiving the Eucharist, then, I mean, what's the worst that happens? Either you keep living your life and you keep receiving the Eucharist and living with your friends and your family, or if you don't have that, living in prayer with God. But obviously all that helps have a church community around you. But then what happens? Oh, what, I die, someone kills me, I experience pain and suffering. Well, if you experience pain and suffering, that's treasure being stored up in heaven, right? And if you get killed, well, then you'll be with the Lord. So obviously I'm not saying that I've achieved the state where I'm not afraid of death or that I would somehow bravely face martyrdom. I pray that I never am put in that position, because I'm not strong, and I'm soft because I've been raised in this modern urban city environment where I've pretty much never had to want for much of any material thing. I've never not had access to food because of material circumstances. I mean, I have, in the sense that I once got stuck in a crevice and had to get rescued by search and rescue, but that was, ostensibly self-imposed by my own fault. But I've never been the victim of famine. I've never been the victim of water shortage. I've never had my well poisoned by Jews in the medieval times. So as far as that stuff goes, once that stuff hits, it will be kind of scary. We have to recognize that. And I think for that reason alone, it's important to keep the fast and to impose restrictions on yourself during fasting periods and other things for no other reason. I mean, the spiritual reasons, the main reason, consultation with your spiritual father. But besides that, we need to be preparing ourselves for actual shortage, for actual, when we don't have food, or we're not going to have the grocery store, if we're not going to have some of these other things, because we may live through some of that. I hope not, but always have to be prepared. But briefly wanted to talk about some World War III news-related stuff before we then just start reacting to content, which is probably going to be the bulk of this show, before we lock in on some Ethnoguesser. But we've already had a solid amount of super chats. Thank you, everyone that has sent them in. Thank you, everyone that's tuning in on Substack. Be sure to share the stream as well, whether you're watching on X, retweet it. Whether you're watching on Substack, restack it. If you're watching on YouTube, send the link in whatever group chat you and your friends like to be racist together in. So do whatever you can. Like I said, worldwarnow.co, best place to subscribe. But this is from antiwar.com. It says, Israeli strikes escalate with attacks reported in southern eastern Lebanon. One day after Israeli attacks killed 14 in Lebanon, the narrative of the ceasefire being intact seems less and less credible, with reports of continued escalation against southern Lebanon and new rounds of Israeli strikes reported in the Bekaa Valley to the east. Strikes were reported against the towns of Kafara and Kalea in southern Lebanon, with one civilian reported killed so far in the attacks and multiple others wounded. Locals reported the continued destruction of residential areas across the Israeli-occupied south. Bekaa Valley hadn't seen an Israeli strike in nearly 3 weeks, but the town of Nabishit, a popular target for the IDF in the past, reportedly came under fire in what the IDF said was an attack on Hezbollah infrastructure. The IDF further claimed its troops had taken over and destroyed Hezbollah headquarters in Bint Jbeil, a village in the south that the two sides had fought over weeks prior. Though destruction is ongoing in that village, as with everywhere else in southern Lebanon, it's not clear if Hezbollah has lost sight of any strategic import. Since the ceasefire began, the UNIFIL peacekeepers have recorded 299 distinct incidents of Israeli fire against Lebanon originating from south of the Blue Line border. This was separate from the ongoing fighting between Israeli troops inside Lebanon and Hezbollah forces. Hezbollah, for its part, reported that they targeted Israeli troops in the area around the coastal Lebanese town of Nakura. This reportedly involved launching drones against gatherings of Israeli forces in the area and claimed confirmed hits. Israel insisted there were no casualties. Hezbollah also reported targeting an Israeli military bulldozer in the Bint Jbeil area. Also claiming a direct hit there. There's been no reporting on what damage, if any, was inflicted on the bulldozer, one of many that's in Lebanon actively leveling the buffer zone south of the Yellow Line. And here I have a video, and unfortunately it's on Telegram, so I can't full screen it for everybody, but I'm going to share this video of Hezbollah, one of their FPV drones, hitting an IDF tank. So let's get that pulled up here. Bing, bang, bomb, boom. There we go. Why is it not playing? There we go. Oh my goodness. This is footage of an FPV drone strike targeting an Israeli armored vehicle being operated by IDF soldiers in Kantara in southern Lebanon. Boom, you can see the Zog soldier's head sticking out of the hatch there. Comes right in. He probably didn't survive. So, hail Hezbollah. But that is the state of warfare there. Again, people are pointing out that there's obviously less FPV drones. Hezbollah has a much smaller stash of them than either the Russian or Ukrainian sides. I've been told from sources, Andrei Afanasyev, other frontline sources in Russia, Ukraine, that both sides have just dramatically increased their number of fiber optic FPV drones and other FPV drones. It's just swarm after swarm, apparently, on either side of the front line in Russia, Ukraine, specifically in Donetsk, near Siversk, some of these other areas. So that's the state of warfare right now. It's made its way to the Levant, and the Israelis are very, even these small amounts of strikes, they have them spooked. That's why I think they're willing to at least pretend to go about with a ceasefire, not move as many of their troops forward as they like, because they're reevaluating and trying to find ways to fight against these FPV drones. And I think they fear that Hezbollah has the ability to do swarms, and they just haven't unveiled that capability yet. So whether Russia has been sending them any of these supplies or not, it wouldn't surprise me, but the Russians would never admit to that because of the Jewish element within their country and their connections with Israel. But speaking of Jewish diaspora and their true loyalties, we have some interesting stuff from Jonathan Greenblatt. Got to get the share screen back up. We have $10 from Jonathan Kelly for the bunker. Thank you, Patriot. $10. Got the wrench. Always good to see you in chat, my friend. Hope you are enjoying your feasting and celebration. I know you went very hard on the fast, so reward yourself. Have some steaks on Wednesdays and Fridays. Well, as Antiochians, we still can, but I don't know if you're so privileged. But I'm going to react to this. I'm going to play this video. I'm going to pull up another tab while it's playing a little bit because I have something else I wanted to react to. And then we will respond. Obviously, Dumernat, I agree with his take. He says, this represents the average Jewish opinion in America. The ADL supports white replacement, LGBTQ nonsense, etc. So does the average Jewish American. American Jews also support the genocidal state of Israel. They don't have universal principles. They're hypocritical criminals. So let's see what this demon has to say.
I'm an unapologetic Jew. Like, I'm a proud Jew. I'm a Zionist Jew. I'm the grandson of a Holocaust survivor. I am a proud Jew. I'm an unapologetic Jew. I'm a Zionist Jew. And I'm a Jew who's ready to fight for the things that we have. You know, here I am. And what kind of Jew are you? ADL's what is our mission statement? Like what we do, stop the defamation of. But that's not our why. Our why, our core purpose, why we were founded. What was the reason to create it was not Jews are safe. That's the hypothesis of what we do. The why is to protect the Jewish people, to protect the Jews. That's why we exist. So we don't exist for some universalist ideal. We exist to protect the Jews. Because when Leo Frank was hanging from a rope, there was no one there to stop it from happening. When Jews were being slaughtered, there was no one there to stop it. So that's why we exist. So in this moment, I think the last decade in particular, although I think you could actually roll back the clock even more, in a world of what I'll call intersectionalism and this pathology of victimhood, it's created the conditions in which it's forced us at ADL, and I think all of us as Jews, committed to this notion of liberalism, not in a political way, but in as a kind of a social political construct, open societies. It's forced us to call into question some of these basic truths we've held dear for so long. Because again, the idea of, well, when everyone is safe, Jews will be safe, that might not be true. Because when people sort us into, oppressor and oppressed, turns out that if you don't give it's kind of like a Plessy versus Ferguson, separate but unequal. Separate turns out to always be unequal. And when Jews are, again, parsed into, well, here are the good Jews versus the bad Jews. Like, guess what? All Jews lose.
So I guess every Jew is just good because they're Jewish. And I love how he just lays it all out right there. Like, intersectionality, pluralistic society, open society, Karl Popper, all this nonsense is when someone gets delineated as the oppressor versus the oppressed, they're going to be marginalized. They're going to be persecuted. Bad things are going to happen to them. It's like, yes. But suddenly it's only a problem because now it started to affect Jews. That's the entire presupposition. It's, well, this was all great and fine when it was leading to the mass replacement and murder and criminal victimization of white people and the shaming of white children in schools with the white guilt narratives around slavery and the Holocaust and the shaming of men around feminism and the collapse of birth rates because of that. But now that it's suddenly come back to bite Jews, now we need to have a political conversation. And that's why you can't fall for any of these kosher nonsense. It's why, I'm sorry, Andrew Wilson's stuff is not acceptable, because the reason he is now popular, the reason his brand of anti-feminism, why his radical and stuff I agree with, his shitting on women and stuff, that's only being allowed because Jews have recognized that the left-wing stuff allowed for this Palestine stuff to go way too far. So now we need to ramp up a kosher right that's going to be anti-feminist. It can be identitarian, a little racist. It can be anti-immigrant because we don't like these Muslims either. So that's what's going on in Europe, obviously, with a lot of these right-wing parties that kowtow to the Jews. But of course, at this point, so many of these people, obviously, you've got, I mentioned the Wilsons, but of course, the main ones being Barry Weiss and these Zionists that have now taken over CBS and TikTok, now owned by the Ellisons. And it's been one of the largest Jewish consolidations of media power in recent memory. And it's all because they're now realizing not just that the left-wing stuff went too far, but in general, the left and the right, specifically in the youth, are now having a horseshoe convergence on their opinion about Jews, Israel, and Zionism. And they realize there's going to have to be total domination, and they're going to have to find new golems. And I predict that Black Americans and Africans around the world, there actually will be a courting of them, especially ones that aren't Muslim, by Israel. Nigerian Christians. Look at Uganda. Their defense minister is willing to send his army to go to war for Israel. So a lot of these non-Muslim African countries, those are going to become new Israeli allies. Blacks in America, I believe, on top of the Christian Zionists and others. So, of course, and I think certain other groups might start to get grafted away as well, some of the other elements of the left-wing coalition. So that's why you have to call out these right-wing people, even if you agree that you're going to vote for the Republicans and vote for Trump, which I still don't think you should do. These people have to be punished. But even if you believe that, you can't accept this kind of soft Israel support of like, why do you care about the Palestinians? Like, because some of them are Orthodox, and more than that, because every human is made in the image of God. And if the Jews, the people that killed Jesus Christ, are trying to genocide someone, then I certainly stand with them. So it shouldn't really be more complicated than that. But send in whatever super chats you guys want to have answered. I think we're a little bit sipping the go off juice a little bit. I hope people are clipping some of these moments. So speaking of the orange blight on our society, here's a tweet of mine. Look, I'm not saying he's the Antichrist, but, and of course, it's the new version of U.S. passports will feature a photo of President Trump inside, according to the Washington Post. And look, my passport's not up for renewal till I think 2020, maybe 2028. I don't know, but possibly 2030. But if so, I don't know. I hope the Democrats change that, because I don't want Trump's face on my document that allows me to travel around the world. It's a little too Antichrist for me. Let's put it that way. Yeah, I mean, Trump is obviously a type of the Antichrist. Look at I was going to react to this. This guy's been on fire. I don't know if he speaks English, so if anyone knows more about him, we would love to have him on the show. He's been very popular recently. His clips, some of the best way to communicate information to the normies, I think. But let's pull this up. Yo, we have $5 from Porphyry Allen. Appeasement of Conrad's Twitter wrath grant. Thank you, brother. Christ is risen. I'm realizing you have the Twitter at, it's just Porphyry. It's like, it's just, take away the dash and the Allen on his username. It's just that, which, powerful X handle, my friend. You use it well, do some daily Porphyrios posting. I recently posted a quote from St. Porphyrios that I liked very much by Elder Ephraim. Maybe I'll pull it up here in a second, but I want to watch this video from Reality Revolt, Dimitri Revolt. Really great stuff from this guy. This is about the ballroom assassination attempt, which at this point I believe was fully just a ritual, and materially is just the excuse that's now been used that Congress has approved $400 million for Trump's Solomon's Temple ball worship, a ballroom. And I think this shooting was just the impetus to get that money moved, quick chaos harvesting ritual to extract some resources from the ether, from the people. And now this will be moving forward. But don't believe me, it's right here. Crazy stuff. The fact of the Henry Martinez account of stuff is crazy. The fact that they both worked at NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratories at the same time, that he tweeted his name out in 2023, Cole Allen, it's crazy stuff. And again, the fact that all those talking points were just like basic shit lib nonsense, it's clear that this was some kind of orchestrated event. I mean, we saw the Caroline Leavitt clip where she was talking before him, where she said shots were going to be fired at this event. Apparently her husband was warning people. Actually, let me find that clip. It's that Fox News clip. Fox News drop call. Yeah. It says here, Fox's Aisha Hasni says Caroline Leavitt's husband leaned over and told me right as the White House correspondent dinner was starting, you need to be very safe. He was very serious when he said that to me, and he kind of looked around the room and said, there are some, and Lincoln, listen to this.
I want to just quickly tell you, I was sitting next to Caroline Levitt, the press secretary's husband. He was one of our guests. He was seated right next to me. And, right as the dinner was starting, the national anthem happened. And then he kind of leaned over and said, I watched you on TV, you do a great job. You need to be very safe. And he was very serious when he said that to me. And he kind of looked around the room and he said, there are some...
Sounds like we lost Aisha's phone there.
Oh,
and
no.
This happens, by the
Oh, the satellite went down, just like when David Duke was on CNN roasting Wolf Blitzer too hard, just like when any of the other number of incidents when someone starts speaking inconvenient truths on the news and things go sideways that way. What was the other piece of evidence I wanted to look up about this? I'm forgetting. But yeah, I mean, she was saying the shots were going to be fired. Her husband was literally warning people about this. So this was clearly an operation. This goes well beyond Trump. This was, sinister forces were involved. And Trump's clearly some kind of weird dark wizard or something involved in some very sinister things. So for that reason alone, you shouldn't support him. But this isn't a super chat, but it raises a good question. Vigo says, I'm catching up on the live. Andrew Wilson isn't a Zionist since he debated Ridvan on that a year ago, but he argues for Trump from Realpolitik position. I'm conflicted on if Realpolitik is real. Realpolitik is real, but if you're going to claim to be advocating for Realpolitik and you're not advocating for the total disenfranchisement of the Jewish political structure in America and the separation entirely of Jewish politics, Jewish civilizational interests, and Jewish political interests, obviously from American life entirely, then you're not talking about Realpolitik at all. You're just either inadvertently or for payment shilling for Jewish interests. So I believe in Realpolitik. I believe in learning from Machiavelli. I'm not even a minor clergyman in the church. I'm not even a reader. So if I was in politics, if I was an elected official, I would be pursuing what I perceive to be the best interests of the church and the people of my nation with a cutthroat dedication that would, I would be willing to do all sorts of things for the nation and for the Lord. Obviously not trying to go against the creation and against the teachings of God and kill people or anything like that. But, I'm not anti-war ontologically if there's a need to fight the war, if Christians are being persecuted somewhere. I mean, look, I'm not against what Russia's doing in Ukraine, so I'm not ontologically anti-war, but I'm certainly against Jewish war that's being carried out on behalf of the people that run our country, especially those when they happen to also be the people that killed Jesus Christ. But again, if you want to do Realpolitik and you were America first and you supported Trump in 2016 and all this stuff, if you're not calling out Trump for being sold out to foreign interests, then you never really understood what all this was about, and you've fallen for a cult of personality. And if it's not that, then and I'm not trying to make any accusations, but Andrew, I don't know if he's quite in this circle yet, but many people, it's all entirely just about access. Trump has this political legacy. He has the ability to get people Fox News shows, get people into Congress, all these sorts of things. So all these accounts and wannabe politicians and pundits and people, they're not going to go against Trump. They got their 30 pieces of silver. So they can't betray their real master. And look, the Jewish media consolidation I talked about with CBS, TikTok, Barry Weiss, Paramount Skydance, that was all facilitated by Trump. So it's just the Jewish rape and looting of America and using us as a golem for their genocidal expansionist interest in the Middle East. And a bunch of silly people want to do, well, it's better than the Democrats. Like, give me a break, man. Like, we have to turn 12. We have to move beyond this retardation. We just have to. The Goyim have to stop, or else we are simply proving that we are basically the footstools that the Jews want to use us as. And we have to rise up. That right now we are not, us people in the West, we are not fit for the emperor. We have not earned him yet. So there will be no emperor, there will be no catacon until the Goyim, till the church militant is ready. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. But I want to show some more clips, recent clip. Speaking of our, man, this is working out better than I thought. This Yaqub Saraf explains exactly how Israel has got us in their pocket to ensure their ascension to regional and world hegemon in the Middle East with our weapons. It's from Yaqub Saraf, former defense minister of Lebanon, now really a regular World War Now contributor.
A new law, which is called the QME law. It's a commitment, United States, toward Israel, that they will not sell any weapon to any country in the world, especially in our area, if it hinders or it decreases the qualitative military edge of Israel compared to the others. And how is this translated? They sold F-35 to Gulf countries, Saudi Arabia and Emirates. But the F-35s sold to those cannot be used without a daily code delivered from the US to those people who bought the F-35. Worse, they have older, weaker, lesser equipped versions than the ones with the Israelis to maintain this qualitative military edge. Now, why would they accept to sell this apart from the money they're getting? It's because at the time they thought that if we arm the Gulf countries, we will be able to beat or contain Iran. And so they convince Israel that we will give some exceptions to some partners in the Gulf to be able to put the heat on Iran. And this strategy proved a total failure because not one single partner in the GCC actually took part in this war.
Spitting fire as always. If you haven't tuned into the full versions and full interviews we've done with Mr. Saraf, I highly, highly encourage you to do so. Really some of the best content on the entire internet, especially if you're Orthodox. And yet it only has like 600 views on our YouTube channel. So even if you've already seen it, go to the World War Now YouTube channel and share the Yaqub Saraf interviews with everybody. Really, really great stuff. And of course, we're going to be joined by him more and more in the future. We should have an episode with him around Pentecost time. So stay tuned for all of that. What else do we got here? Oh yes, big news related to the church. I wanted to congratulate Patriarch Prime on his great reporting. My good friend Caleb from Atlanta, my nigga, my black friend. Good to be hearing from him. And he's doing the best reporting, has been for a long time. He's committed to his autistic knowledge of the Orthodox Church to translate random Georgian websites and their reporting on things like random news about, nose is itching, random news about Orthodox bishops. And of course, he's covering the Georgian patriarchal election. And right here, this is a very good report. The three most vote-getting candidates are now going to move forward to be chosen by the synod. And 20 votes were given to Metropolitan Shio of Senaki, who's the locum tenens chosen by Patriarch Ilya himself. 7 votes for Metropolitan Job of Urbanisi, 7 votes for Metropolitan Gregory of Poti, and then 4 votes went to various other bishops. This is exactly how people thought it would play out. I reported on this in the past. And it's important to know, these two guys who both got combined 14 votes, they are both in favor of recognizing the OCU, going in communion with the schismatics in Ukraine, and basically breaking communion with the canonical church in Ukraine under Metropolitan Onufri, which would undoubtedly lead to a schism with the Russian church. Some say they wouldn't do it immediately and there'd be some kind of pseudo nonsense going on. Regardless, we don't want that to happen. Metropolitan Shio, he would do no such thing. I know people who are his spiritual children who say that he has always wanted nothing more than to just be a monk in the mountains. So even though he would not want it, and even though it might be very difficult for him, us faithful, he is the kind of person, regrettably for him, that we want to lead us. And he got 20 votes. And if he can maintain these same 20 votes in the next round of voting, when it's just these final 3, he will be the new Catholicos Patriarch of Georgia. And we will have survived once again another patriarchal election where there is consequences regarding the Ukraine-related schism on the table. So praise God, it seems that we're doing okay. So Georgia, keep doing what you're doing. But speaking of hierarchical news, this is good news, and there is some information in here that is interesting, and it seems that the Cypriot church authorities have sunk very, very low in their attempts to manufacture scandal against Metropolitan Tychikos. It says here, people rally in support of Metropolitan Tychikos as church tensions escalate in Cyprus. It says hundreds gathered in Paphos on Saturday morning in support of His Eminence Metropolitan Tychikos, carrying banners declaring the reason for Tychikos' persecution is that he fights ecumenism and demanding his restoration to the Paphos Cathedra, even as church authorities move closer to imposing the penalty of defrocking, which is so ridiculous. The demonstration at Paphos Town Hall Square concluded with a march to the metropolis building, coming just one day before an incident at the Church of the Holy Apostles Paul and Barnabas that has deepened the conflict between the suspended metropolitan and archdiocesan authorities. On Sunday morning, Metropolitan Tychikos reportedly appeared at the church wearing liturgical vestments and attempted to commemorate names at the table of oblation during the Divine Liturgy. According to his legal representative, the protosynchilus of the metropolis, Archimandrite Ioannis Theocharis physically pulled him by the arm, demanding he leave, reports Ecclesia Online. The protosynchilus had no right to do this, Giacomakis stated, which is Tychikos' lawyer, adding that Metropolitan Tychikos did not exercise any physical violence. The protosynchilus reportedly visited a hospital following the incident for treatments of injuries he said he sustained. Both sides filed police complaints. And here's a crowd of the protesters, solid crowd of people. Remember, Paphos, Cyprus in general, not a huge place. On Greek Cyprus, the Greek side, that isn't occupied by illegal Turkish authorities. I think it's only 900,000 people. So this is impressive. Paphos is not even the largest city either. So it is one of the larger towns, but this is very impressive. The Archdiocese of Cyprus firmly rejected Metropolitan Tychikos' account. It issued a statement emphasizing that clergy under suspension are forbidden from wearing the distinctive vestments of their rank or from commemorating at the table of oblation. In a remark by the priest in charge of the church that such a thing is not permitted, the former metropolitan struck him and pushed him at the same time, the Archdiocese stated, citing the testimony of the church's second priest. Very skeptical of this. According to reporting from Ecclesia Online, members of the Holy Synod now consider the situation to have reached a breaking point, with at least 2 Synod members reportedly calling for immediate defrocking. Yeah, that's the Archbishop and who else? Probably Nectarios, I would guess. However, the Synod has decided it will instead issue a final warning that continued defiance will result in deposition from the clergy. Metropolitan Tychikos' legal team maintains that commemorating names does not constitute performing a sacrament, and that witnesses confirm no violence occurred on the Metropolitan's part. The supporters who gathered Saturday are demanding Metropolitan Tychikos' restoration, adherence to sacred canons, and preservation of lay participation in episcopal elections. Amendments to the church's charter that would pave the way for electing a new Metropolitan of Paphos are expected to be approved by the Holy Synod in June. Metropolitan Tychikos' legal team has previously alleged that his removal was driven by financial motives, claiming that he was pushing for collection of an $8 million municipal debt and had ordered audits that could expose financial irregularities, which, again, I think it is all of the above. What I've experienced in Cyprus has taught me that it is, unfortunately, very much in part run by criminals and gangsters, and that the church is not immune from that. So, again, I should ask Father Peter if I can. In the future, I will tell the tale, no doubt, but probably time to lock in on some Ethnoguesser here in a second. But if anybody else has any super chats, feel free to send them in. It's very good to get the support and to hear what you guys have to say. But hello to everybody on Substack. Hope everyone's doing well. I think it was Buck was streaming and maybe 1 or 2 other people are streaming, but not as busy as it is on other nights. So thank you to everyone that has super chatted so far. Again, like the stream if you haven't tuned in already. $4.99 for Brittany Love ATX. Do you think we will see the end of Zionism in our lifetime? Well, I don't know if we see the end of Zionism. There will always be Jews that will probably want Jewish states in certain places and probably in the Middle East to rebuild the third temple. I don't think we'll ever see the end of that until, I don't know, the Antichrist comes. But we could easily see the destruction of the state of Israel as we know it today. And we could certainly see the Jewish diaspora disempowered and put in a place where we no longer really have to listen to what they have to say, because I can assure you there are millions of ethno-linguistic groups with millions or tens of millions of members around the world who you may have never even heard of, let alone been forced to contend with their geopolitical interests and complaints or their desire for statehood. I mean, how many people here could even tell me off the rip the 4 countries that Kurdish people occupy, that is quote unquote Kurdistan? And look, the World War Now audience is obviously who's going to know about this kind of stuff. But again, there's more Kurds in the world supposedly than there are Jews, and you've never heard of it, despite the fact that huge swaths of Turkey, Syria, Iraq, and Iran are occupied by Kurds, and they want to form a state out of some of those areas. Look at the Druze people, over 2 million Druze, and most people don't know anything about them, and they are being used as a pawn, ironically enough, by Israel and their Jews to expand into Lebanon and Syria. So I do think, St. Paisios talked about it, and the Jews are terrified of the 80-year curse that will cause Israel to be destroyed, that they feel is coming around, and that's only a few years away. It's 78 years, so 2 years. We might see sometime around that time, really, Israel could end. So reasons to be hopeful, right? Nahum says Metropolitan Shai was the best option. No, he's the only one against the OCU. Not the only one, but he's of those three, he's the one. He's clearly who Patriarch Ilya wanted for the job. So we want that to happen, and I think that's what's going to happen. So where he says, you're fairly certain the World War III is going to happen before you're old enough to get married or build a career. Who wants to build a career, man? Like, you want to get a bunch of Zog dollars and, stack inflationed up currency that's worth nothing. Look, man, you're old enough. You can get married at this point, and frankly, I think a crisis would make the marriage rates go up. I mean, we've never had less people getting married right now. So the idea that warfare, natural disasters, let's say there's no more school and people aren't going to the office anymore and people are more concerned with, day-to-day survival. I would wager the marriage rates and the birth rates and women getting together, that'll actually go up. Look at Gaza. Gaza is one of the most fertile regions in the world. Crisis, ethnic assault on your beliefs by outside forces and persecution like that actually leads to more birth rates and closer community ties. Excuse me. So if that's what you're worried about, no black pill at all. If anything, you should hope for mild civilizational collapse, because then you might maybe make you more likely to get a girlfriend, because all the day-to-day nonsense that women concern themselves with will go away, and they'll be like, I need a man who can protect me, find food, and protect my children, or if I still want children, give me children and then protect them. So we got to remember that a lot of this stuff, when it comes to that stuff, only is a problem because we live in a fake artificial simulacrum of reality, and people are protected from natural consequences of things, and that facade can crumble very quickly, whether it's supply chains or the monopoly on violence that local law enforcement may or may not have. That civilizational barrier is very permeable, and once you get in a place where you recognize it can go back and forth, a lot of things get back into order. It's behavior of women, or how certain institutions are run, or even how elevated young people and how much responsibility young people are given. Because young people, everyone wants to say, oh, those young people and their participation trophies and they don't do anything. Well, because they've never been given any real responsibility or been given any kind of power over their own circumstances. I have a tweet right here. We have $10 for Porphyry Allen, inflated up currency to support Conrad's career. Thank you, sir. I really should be pumping these super chats just directly into Bitcoin or other or precious metals or something. But I probably have too much money sitting liquid in my bank account than any real economic expert would advise. But I had this tweet here, and maybe people can kind of pick up what I'm laying down here. But says here, in modern society, well, actually, let's read the tweet I'm reacting to first. So it says, one of the weirdest inversions of the 21st century is that organizations try to appeal to the youth by presenting themselves as unserious and childish, rather than creating a serious, prestigious image that the youth can hope to attain if they join. I then say, in modern society, when they say they are making something for the youth or for the next generation, it is just some terrible simulacrum that has zero power or ability to actually influence the world or allow someone to actually do anything impactful at all in a specific space/group. The old literally just build fake worlds for you to trek through while they make all the decisions and run everything. And this is true for so many things. It's true for school. It's true for the first 10 years of any job you've ever had. Like, the idea that you would ever really be put in a decision-making room while you're under the age of 40 is just ridiculous. And boomers have done that on purpose. And even when they retire, they still maintain so much of this level of control. And something I just thought of while I was even rereading those posts is that this is one of the reasons why Orthodoxy is so appealing to young men. And it's not just because, sure, at an institutional level, a man can become Orthodox and he can improve himself, and he could become a priest, and he could even become a bishop. Yes, that is very possible. It's one of the few, and I would say it's the reason that the fact that is possible in the most important institution with the most important power and the most important job and the most important authority on the world, which is Christ's church, has that ability. It proves to you that the way that young people and men are being boxed out for the older generations and women and these other things is satanic. And more so than just that, though, like I said, a man can join an Orthodox church and become a trusted person in his community and meet people and form a mannerbund of men around him, as well as a community with men, women, clergy, children, and everyone. And he is a critical part of, and he can have a tangible, visible impact on his immediate surroundings and watch over the course of his life material, spiritual, metaphysical reality improve over his lifetime. He will have children, and he will witness what those children will do, and he'll be able to lay down and have had a tangible look at what he did. And that is not something that almost any institution wants to give everybody. I mean, just think of even all these sorts of things, think of so many different things, a lot of DEI stuff, but so many young achievers, they become White House interns, and then they're on these youth leadership councils and all these sorts of things. None of these things matter at all. At best, they're just filters so that the controllers can filter and find the most psychopathic Jewish aligned shills, and then they can extricate them and maybe put them in a position of power. So it's a generational gender discrimination, and then comes the ideological discrimination on top of it, even if you've somehow managed to break through all of that. So we got to break through the longhouse. We have to break through the gynocracy, the gerontocracy, the rule by the old and decrepit and the boomers who, unfortunately, they just don't I understand we have to respect our elders, and there are those elders in the church and others who should be undoubtedly followed and looked to. But it was ironically the boomer generation that rejected the principle of looking up to one's elders. So insofar as we reject their principles and are disobedient to them, we are ironically being more obedient to the principle of things. And that's why someone like Elder Ephraim had to come over, because we didn't have proper elders in this country. We had to get the Athonite wisdom. Someone like Father Seraphim Rose had to enter into the Russian tradition and learn so that he could bring and communicate that tradition to us Americans. So we now have that. And now, after a few decades, we're able to have more and more homegrown American asceticism and ethnic Americans that are able to climb the ladder in a more unimpeded way. But undoubtedly, the boomers are much to fault for this, and the fact that they have held on to power. I mean, look, Gen X basically missed out. They're all old now. They're in their 60s. Gen Xers are in their 60s now, and they never really got on top. They're kind of there now. They're pretty powerful, but there's still boomers that are up there, and then they're going to have a very limited window, and either they're going to have to hold on for another 20 years into deep, deep old age, or the millennials are going to take over, and eventually, I think we're getting to the point where the Zoomers, it might be more of a hostile takeover, and order might break down. So that's my perspective. Someone says, as a former Catholic, all Orthodox priests I've seen are super based. We have the most awake clergy by far. Oh, for sure. I mean, I only know of literally one priest in all of the world that supports Israel and Zionism, and it's very unfortunate. He's in America, of all places, ironically. So, unfortunate effect of America. But I think you all know what time it is. It's time to play some Ethnoguesser. Oh wow, it looks like Ethnoguesser got an update. Interesting. We got classic genomes, see real photos and guess their ancestry results on the wow. Okay, I'm gonna have to explore this later. We're still just gonna do the daily game like normal, but yeah, this is cool. There's some other games. We'll have to people send in some super chats or something. Maybe we can look at some of that. But at the very least, next week's stream, I will have looked into that more. But let's lock back in. Man, I thought I had this on dark mode. At least I normally did. Is there a way to... Yeah, that's better. Okay, I feel like we've had this people before. But these are not dark Britons. No, I don't think so. Dark Britons, are these more maybe like... I don't know. The woman has almost slightly lighter eyes. Is this like... It's like here, maybe? Yeah, Romania. Looks like Alex Soren. I kind of see it. I haven't seen him without a beard, so I can't say. Ricky Barr at $9.99 for Conrad's Shaving Cream and Razor Fund. Thank you for keeping us posted on geopolitical events. May God watch over you. Love you, brother. Love you too, Rick. Great real life patriot and friend. Speaking of, church communities, that's what we like to hear. Thank you so much, Rick. Grateful to hear it. I'm stumped on this one though. I can't deny. Yeah, people know I did shave the beard, kept the mustache, which I'll probably get rid of at some time too. I have all these ingrown hairs on this side, so that's why it looks terrible over here, because I had to pluck them out. But I've been growing the mustache for longer than I was growing the beard, because my mustache genes are so bad that I have to basically grow it for twice as long as I grow the beard for it to look like anything. So maybe it's summertime, so good enough time as I need to give it a rest. But I'm growing out the head hair, so who knows, all over the place. But it doesn't seem like anyone is super against this guess. Obviously, this is a bit of a hedge between Hungary, Romania, and Ukraine. Well, usually the past times I've been guessing here, it's been farther north, and I've just been deceived by the darker eye color. But I don't think these are too far north. The woman definitely, I mean, the woman kind of looks like, she has a face that almost looks like Darya Dugina, or a Russian woman or something. So I think Slav is very believable here. Could even be something more like from around here, but I think I'll go, yeah, about there. Oh, good literal bullseye. Not a hedge at all. Gorid, East Alpinid variety named after the Polish word for mountain. Metrically intermediate between West Alpinid and Eastern Europid. The nucleus of the type lies in southern Poland. Gorids are also important in Czechs, Slovaks, Serbs, Albanians, northern Bulgarians, Hungarians, Romanians, West Ukrainians, and their neighbors. Locked in. That was a good one. Let's keep this party going. Okay. Now these are definitely South Africans. These are definitely that's definitely like Khoisid, Bantu Khoisan, Zulu Khoisan kind of mixture. People back me up here, chat. Back me up. Affirm my speculations. Yes. Nahom, our resident African. We did it. I should have gone slightly over the Lesotho side, but yes, exactly like I said, Bantuid Khoisan contact type developed as a result of the Bantu expansion from millennia ago, when Bantu assimilated older Khoisan groups, found especially in the eastern parts of South Africa. So I got to remember more east, like around Lesotho, but still got a 4700. Great stuff. It's common in Xhosa, southern Sotho, Shangana. We're locked in, people. We're so locked in. All right. The guy looks like Novak Djokovic. So my initial guess is to just go smack dab in the middle of Serbia, or maybe in like northern Kosovo right there. Northern Kosovo region. As of course, in fact, all of Serbia is about, it's pretty much all of this. Like all of that is Serbia at a bare minimum, I would say. But Serbia definitely is what this looks like to me. I guess once again, that's a hedge. We could hit there. Like, the border here between Albania and Serbia. Yeah, I want to lock this in. Solid. Ponted. So I'm glad I didn't go Albania, actually. It's more like North Macedonia, Bulgaria, Greeks, East Mediterranean type, sometimes associated with ancient Scythians, Kurgans, and other steppe peoples, common in the Balkans, especially Bulgaria, Macedonia, Greece, Thracian subvariety, Western Turkey. So we're doing great. Solid first 3 rounds. Let's not mess this up. Oh, man. It's the white people round, baby. Let's go. We've gotten this group before. Oh, I can't remember. Are these like Estonians, I think, maybe? Like true Russians? I feel like we've had this one before. But we're locked in, so we got it. We can't mess up the streak. We're going for top 1% today. But yeah, I think these are, I'm thinking like, yeah, something there. Oh, I should have gone farther south. Again, 4,900. Okay. But yeah, Belarusians basically. North Ponted. Yeah, this is just the north. Like we have the South Ponted, and this is the North Ponted. Altered Mediterraneanoid from Eastern Europe that connects Pontids. Boom. All right. still at 4,900 average. All right, these are, man, I've got this wrong. It's like peninsular Malaysia, right? I'm pretty sure this one's peninsular Malaysia. And we've gotten it wrong like almost every time. We've gotten close, but like it's like a actual smallish red area. But I'm pretty sure this is it. I'm pretty sure this is what it's been in the past. Of course, no, it's everywhere but peninsular Malaysia. It's all of Malaysia, it's all of Sumatra and all of Borneo and almost all of Jakarta. And then I forget which, Sulawesi, yeah, the fucking fourth island. Dang it. And we've still got 4,000, so we're doing fine. But all right, anything below 4,000 is officially a major L this round. But we're doing okay. But let's lock this one in because it is still Malaysia, but it's just not peninsular Malaysia. So should have remembered that. I'm locking that one in the vault. Next round. Oh. These got to be like Americans, right? Like this is like wah 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 wah. Let's say some of that, right? Like this has to be like some of this or something, right? Incan. I don't know, man. They don't look that dark. I don't know how south we can really go with these people. I think these are like maybe they could be in like Arizona or like Mexico or something. I mean, maybe Mexico, but these are not like, these are not the people from Apocalypto or anything like that. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Thinking like here. Oh, a little more south. Dang it. 25. Yeah, these are like Navajos. Yeah, Arizonids. Relatively recent North American contact type started to develop as Athabascan speakers of Canada migrated south during late pre-Columbian period. Became more numerous when Europeans reintroduced the horse to America, which facilitated bison hunts in the prairie. Today, typical in Apache, Navajo, and Comanche, also in some neighboring tribes. Still relatively numerous. So yeah, these are like, these are your strung out on the fire water, laying out on the res government welfare queens right here. But unfortunately, I guess the wrong tiny sliver of Canada. My original guess, ironically enough, probably would have gotten me there, which would have probably been another 500 points. But when they look like that, that's just a full-on Navajo engine. Okay, Africa. Now, I don't think these are South African. I got my South Africa jitters out the system. So what are we doing here? Gonna need you to help me on this one, Nahom. This is Kenya. All right. I'll trust you on this one. Maybe like up here, like near the lake, like northwestern Kenya. Because they do look a little Sudanese. So how's that region? That's not a veil, that is her hair. But if this is good, I'm going to lock it in, unless someone thinks it's like southern Kenya. Wow. Central Bantwid. I guess part of it's Kenya if I'd gone Mombasa. But yeah, these are just straight up Mozambique, Tanzania, Assanibas. But, Africa's tough, man. But at least, 1995 points. We're not getting a 0, but we're losing a bit of our edge. We might not be top 1% anymore. I don't think so. Some of them made it to Africa. But I expect, he said it, if I'm wrong, I'm donating my assets to World War Now. So we're coming for you, man. The World War Now bank foreclosure team The repo men are coming. Oh my gosh. We've gotten this one before, right? And it's also South Africa, right? This one's also South Africa. Unless someone like really disagrees, but I'm pretty sure this is South Africa. It's not Angola. I've gotten these people before, and I really don't remember them being in Angola. I mean, it could be Angola, but I'm pretty sure it's not. I'm going to go slightly closer to Angola here in South Africa and hedge. Boom. Katangid. Right on, baby. Very ancient Australiform African type, probably more widespread during the Paleolithic. Only survives as a rare minority element. See, this is why I'm the host and I play the game. And you all pay in the comments. Just kidding. You know, we appreciate it. I guess I would have also gotten points if I just went middle of the DRC, but we out here. All right. Oh, it's more of this. Like maybe this could be East Coast Madagascar, but like that's the only Africa this could be. This is going to be more likely here kind of thing. What do y'all think? Y'all think Papua? I could see Papua. Could be Madagascar, but they look pretty Asian. Yeah, I mean, if it was Madagascar, it'd surprise me. And if it was Madagascar, I doubt it would be like the only place you could get points for them. So I think Papua New Guinea could probably be correct. Or what, back to peninsular Malaysia. Definitely not Malaysia. I don't know about that, but so not Malaysia, not Papua, then where? I'm not going East India. Like maybe like Myanmar or something. I mean, or like maybe the Myanmar-India border or something, but I'm not so sure. I freaking knew it. It's just the opposite of what I did the last one. I thought the island Malaysians were peninsular Malaysians, and I thought the peninsular Asians were island Malaysians. Who said no Malaysia? I was totally going to go there. Definitely not Malaysia. Hang up the hat, bro. Trad radical. Not correct. It was literally exactly where I was. And then I saw someone go, no, Papua. It's definitely Papua. That's why we don't listen to chat. That's why we don't listen to chat. This is not a democracy. This is an absolute fascistic monarchy with me at the top. And that's why the show works. So we're still decent enough score, but lowering the average by a lot. Next round, this has to be a 5. What am I looking at? This has to be like, this is like deep abo, right? Like as long as it's not the random New Zealand abo, I would. The question is where, because it's not the Tasmanian abo. I know that. I'm just gonna go in like the middle of an ab in the outback. unless anyone thinks I should go any specific region, that's where I'm going to go. So if you disagree with that specific location, I'm giving 30 seconds for people to say. Now, in this game, there's several different types of abos. There's some that are like both up here and in Papua. There's an abo sub-race that is exclusively in Tasmania. I think there's one or two in different kind of clusters across. Like that. That's what I'm locking in. We did it. Boom. Should have stayed where I was initially, but we stayed within the 5,000 zone. Where did we get? Top 6% of today's players. All right. Not too bad. Not too bad. Top 6%. We're back. Last week, top 41%. That was unacceptable. So, yeah, we are 3. So if that's 5, so it's like 10, 12, 17, 21, 23, 24, 29, 30, 33, 34, 37, 41. We're like the top 45. We're in the top 45 players in the world. So this is what we do. This is how we do it. But thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I want to thank all the super chatters. If you have any final questions, feel free to send them in. But thank you to Mistaphisto7, H. Brasi, Silversight, Ewar Mapping, Brittany Love ATX, Jonathan Kelly, Porphyry Allen, and Rick Ibarra. Thank you so much for supporting the show. Like I said, if you're not already behind the paywall at worldwarnow.co, please do so. Visit our Substack. We will be dropping the link in the live chat right now, so there's no excuse. But be sure to, come on. Be sure to tune in and visit the Substack, get behind the paywall, and be sure to watch, in particular, our most recent interview with Yal Saraf, where we discuss the Orthodox prophecies, what's going on in Lebanon, what's going to happen with Iran, so much more stuff from this incredible Orthodox Christian statesman, again, former defense minister of Lebanon, really incredible guy. Visit the Buy Me a Coffee at buymeacoffee.com/World War Now to give us a one-time payment of whatever you think we have earned, because it's what keeps the lights on here at the proverbial World War Now bunker. If you're not already following me on X, be sure you're doing that at GnomeRad. I just got over 13,000 followers today, so help me cement that number in. Help me get up to 20K as soon as possible. A lot of really good tweets, especially for me recently. I was kind of on a tear today, so be sure to go retweet everything if you can. But again, thank you so much for tuning in. I think this was a very clippable stream. So if you enjoyed this, please feel free to go back. All you got to do is screen record on your phone, even just keeping it in vertical mode and just screen recording the little top part. It's put your phone on Do Not Disturb, record your favorite part, post it, tag me or tag the World War Now account or the World War Now Clips account on Twitter or YouTube. And we'll be posting that. $10 from Jonathan Kelly from the Alex Soros Excellence in Journalism Fund. Thank you. Now that USAID went down and these other things, and the SPLC, of course, we need Jonathan Kelly to transfer these funds for us personally via Super Chat. So thank you, my friend. We will continue to be good journalists on behalf of our master. But again, thank you to all the Super Chatters once again. I want to encourage everybody to visit the World War Now Clips Twitter account. I was reacting to some of the clips earlier. We have some people running this, some very good friends of the show. So tune into all of this. We post clips from all the streams, all the episodes, more stuff coming, of course. And be sure to also follow the YouTube channel, the stream. Let me find it. There we go. Be sure to tune in to subscribe to the World War Now Clips YouTube channel. We're going to toss that in the comments because the fact that we've only got 40 subscribers is criminal. So be sure to tune in. That's in the description down there below. World War Now Clips. A lot of really great clips. This George McMillan clip is incredible. I encourage everyone to watch it. Very prescient stuff from years ago, literally predicting stuff that's happening as we speak. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Solid amount of super chats tonight. Solid engagement. One of our best Ethnoguesser games. Thank you everybody for tuning in on the Substack. I see a lot of good people on here. I see Golden Shekels, Arlene Warhola, Barbara Payload, Susan Crabtree, Scott Morrow, Eldritch, all sorts of people. So thank you everyone for tuning in. If you enjoyed this, feel free to leave a comment. Let me know your favorite part of the stream. Leave a timestamp. Let me know what you thought was funny, what you thought was insightful. And with all of that, I will see you on the next one. Like I said, who'll be looking at some of those other Ethnoguesser games, seeing some ways to make this stream a lot more fun. It's already super fun, but see if any of those other games might be interesting, get more audience participation. Maybe we'll have some, maybe that'll be a perk, get some people on the stream and play some Ethnoguesser, get some people in the Discord involved. That's true. If you haven't already subscribed, if you're not in the Discord channel, be sure to get in there. I'll actually share that link as well. The Discord's a great place. We're always in there cutting it up. I'm always sending the latest news updates. So get the Discord, get vetted. Chat more with me and Dimitri. We're going to try to do more voice chats in there as well. But thank you all so much for tuning in. Christ is risen. Christos anesi, Christos voskresi. Almasi kam. I hope everybody is having a wonderful Paschal season and is staying strong in these very fateful days. So keep me in your prayers. Stay subscribed everywhere. Like I said, worldwarnow.co. And I will see you all on the next one. God bless.